Right. Well, thank you everybody for coming, and hopefully you will learn a lot from today. If you have any comments at any point, then please do pop them in the chat and I'll keep an eye on what's going on in the chat. And I might ask you to unmute to kind of expand on your point if there's anything at that stage. So briefly, I'm Fee Barnes and I am originally from Bristol. Grew up in a fairly kind of poor household, started my working life getting normal jobs, kind of, just boring stuff, rat race stuff, ended up burning out at the age of about 32 and decided to start a business. And we based the business around my husband's skill, which was web design. So then we ran a web design business for 10 years, from about 2010, 2011, we started things. And so we've been doing that ever since. And during that time, my skill turned out to be in the content side of things, and in more specifically in sort of pulling out of people what their USP is. So what makes them unique in what they do, and being able to convey that in the website. So that's kind of basically what I'm about. At the moment, I'm starting up this whole content coaching thing. So you guys are kind of like the first ones to experience this side of me. I'm normally the one writing people's content, but a lot of people will say that you should write your own content, and I completely agree. You know your business better than anyone else. But a lot of people kind of falter at that point, thinking, well, what if what I'm writing isn't hitting the mark? A lot of people maybe aren't sort of so confident with their writing skills and spelling and grammar. And so what I'm going to be doing is supporting people in that whole process, doing editing, making sure everything is written in a structural, functional, practical way, whilst also, reflecting your true voice. So excuse me, there's somebody strumming outside, which is nice. So if you hear that, it's the commune guys strumming our pavements. So if anybody, if you would all like to introduce yourselves in the chat, I know we've kind of done a verbal introduction, but if you want to tell us what it is you do, kind of what started you in what you're doing. So what inspired you to start doing what you're going to do, what you do. So that is briefly about me. And so, like, why am I doing this? Why are we doing this in the first place? What is this whole thing about the core marketing message? Basically, discovering your core marketing message makes all your content creation 100 times easier, because you're coming from a central place and pulling all your, it's like having your core set of values in life, dictating or influencing what decisions you make when you come across a dilemma. It's a similar kind of value setting thing. So, for example, if you were a life coach, I know there's some coaches here, but not necessarily life coach. Life coach is such a broad term nowadays. There's so many life coaches out there, and a lot of them just kind of say, well, we can help you with any part of your life, but you may have a specific issue that you want help with, and you're looking for somebody who's maybe specializing in that kind of thing. So maybe if somebody's looking for a health coach and you're a certain demographic, then you might be looking for someone like Kim, for example, who is like good at that particular kind of thing, maybe can help a certain demographic much better than a different demographic, if you know what I mean. So if you put out what it is you do and who you can help, then those are the kind of people that you're going to attract, and you get more of the clients that you love. So and because we've got Zoom and video calls nowadays, we're not just serving local clients. Before technology, yes, we did have to be quite broad based. We did have to be quite sort of, oh yes, we can help everyone because you might be the only person locally who could do that. But now we've got Zoom and other video conferencing. You can do your niche and put it out to the world. Everybody who speaks your language can come and use your service as long as they have access to the internet. So it's really revolutionized things, the technology advances, and it's one of those things that's come out of the pandemic as well, because people are looking online to solve their problems. So it's one of those actually gifts of the pandemic, as I see it, that actually it's allowed us to hone down more in what we're good at and offer those services to the world. So so many life coaches come into life coaching because they've had to overcome a particular problem in life, and they've used life coaching to do it. And the fact is, there's 7.5 billion people on this planet, so you can bet that there's plenty of other people who are looking to solve that same problem as you, and they're looking for you, and it's up to you to sort of put out there what it is you do so they can find you. Anybody to overcome the issue you're looking for isn't going to come to you if you don't tell them clearly that you specialize in that issue. It brings me in mind of like a hypnotherapist. Have you ever been to a hypnotherapist site and they say, oh, we can help you with these problems, and there's a big long list like that of different problems that they can help with, which kind of makes you think jack of all trades and maybe master of none. But if they say, well, I used hypnotherapy, if they tell their story, I used hypnotherapy to overcome this problem, then somebody looking to overcome that same problem will be more likely to come to them with that. Does that make sense to you? So yes, Kim is an online health coach specializing in weight loss and strength training for women over 40. Always wanted to share a passion for exercise and healthy food, and took the plunge 5 years ago after 25 years in journalism. Awesome. So that's quite a switch, isn't it, from journalism into health coaching? But yeah, I would imagine much more fulfilling for you to see the transformation in your clients. So that's awesome. Okay, we are going to then dive into the process. And we're going to be getting quite sort of vulnerable and honest with ourselves, hopefully. And what I like to do before I start any creative process is to just kind of sort of clear your mind of any sort of things that are going on during the day, anything that's kind of clouding your head. So just before we start anything else, everybody familiar with box breathing, where you breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4? We're going to just do 4 rounds of that just to relax ourselves. Relax myself as well. This is my first workshop. I'm mildly nervous. So yeah, if we just have a little sort of shake of our shoulders, and we're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and out for 4. Okay, how is everyone feeling? All good? Excellent. Wonderful. So purpose of that obviously is to quieten that loud, obtrusive, you've got all this stuff to do voice, and tap in to the helpful, quiet, kind voice within, one that tells you you're good enough, that you can be successful, you're powerful, and you do anything you want to. Okay. So while you're still in this relaxed state, I just want you to remember, go back in time to why you started your business in the first place. Take your mind back, dissolve into a little montage. Why you started your business in the first place. What were your reasons? Were you solving a problem for yourself? Was that what gave rise to it? Or was it something you've done for many years for other people as an employee? And if that's the case, then take yourself back a bit further as to when you decided to learn that skill for that particular thing. What were your reasons for doing it? Have you always loved it and wanted to do it? It's really important to remind yourself why you do what you do, because it instills that sense of passion into what you go on to write. So by all means, take a few moments to write some things down that come to mind when you think of that. And because this is all going to sort of come together at the end a little bit. I'm just going to have a look at these other comments a moment. These are doing that. Absolutely, that's great, Sophie. So Sophie's comment, helping high ticket coaches with their sales process so they discover their inner genius and get really confident selling. Awesome. I left the corporate world after 20 years, 4 years ago. Excellent job. Moving into the online coaching space, you saw how many coaches aren't comfortable selling. Absolutely. Great stuff. And Katja, my passion is traveling and self-education. I love to inspire people to travel and help people to travel for less. Also, self-education, I love to inspire people to learn more and create themselves in a way they can be 100% themselves. Excellent mission there. That's really, really cool. So everyone's made some notes on their origins there, sort of like think of yourself as some kind of superhero and you're writing your origin story, wherever you come from. We've got a really good one there from Sophie. Come from the corporate world, moved into this 4 years ago after 20 years in corporate. So there's something that inspired that move. And I, coming from corporate myself, yes, one is escaping that, right? And then the other thing is finding something that's actually fulfilling and like means something to you, fills your, because I mean, the corporate life is an empty life, right? It is very soul destroying. So yeah, that's definitely something a lot of people are going to relate to. So not necessarily in your like initial pitch, but that's definitely something that needs to be included in your story because so many people are going to relate to that. So that ties in quite nicely with the next stage. If you think about the people you most want to help in your business, and actually Sophie's kind of got that nailed, because I think this is something that Sophie is quite used to doing, this messaging stuff, which is awesome because it makes life a lot easier. So who do you want to help? Who are they? What's their pain point? What do they struggle with most? Are they you a few years ago? How can you relate to them? And what is the solution you're going to offer them? So I don't know if you've seen this sort of timeline thing. I like to do this now and future line. So on the left side of your page right now, and do a line with an arrow to the future. On the left-hand side, you can do like where they are now, their starting point. And in the future bit, you put the solution, the end point that you're going to offer them, basically, the ultimate dream that they will achieve by using your service. Along that timeline, you can put little steps in there, sort of some of the things that you do, like, I don't know, with a health coach, you might say, we look at your nutrition and then we bring in exercise, and then I don't know what the steps are that you do, but that kind of thing, So, but ultimately, you're kind of helping them have a better body, feel better about themselves, maybe get rid of pain points, things like physical pain points. So what does their life look like now in the future point? If there's several scenarios or potential scenarios in each camp, then write down as many things as you can think of, because this is all, again, having your core marketing message informs things like blogging, things like, what can you blog about moving forward? And it's all like great ideas generation. So think about the kinds of people you want to work with as well. So bearing that in mind when you're making your notes, what kind of personality types and what kind of people give you energy and what kind drain your energy. This is all very important in terms of when you're attracting people. Like, for example, I like to work with people who are quite buy into the spiritual side of things. There are some of my techniques that I do that some people might find a little bit woo-woo. So if I sound a bit woo-woo in my marketing, that's because that's the kind of people I want to attract. And if people think that's a complete heap of kind of hoss shit, then that's not a problem for me, because they're not the people I want to work with necessarily. Do you see what I mean? So don't be afraid to truly embody what you want to put out there. And if you put the wrong kind of people off, as in the wrong kind, the people you don't want to work with, then that's absolutely fine, because it's a big thing about sort of attracting the right people but repelling the wrong people as well. It's a very, very powerful thing to be able to say no to business. People say there's no such thing as bad business. I, from experience, can completely disagree with that. I've run a web design business for 10 years, and there is such thing as bad business. There is such thing as people that are more trouble than they are worth and that you just don't want to work with. So, okay. If you've all got some notes done on that, we're then going to be looking at the kind of language that you're going to use in your marketing message. So put yourself in their shoes, basically. If they're Googling a solution to their current problem, then think about what kinds of things they might be typing into that search box. Write down as many keywords as you can think of people looking to solve a problem. Be careful to use the terminology they would use and not the technical jargon that you might use in your industry. Keep it into layman's terms. So I don't know. For me, I might be sort of writing articles on how do I blog, or how do I write my message, that kind of thing. There's a blog I've got in development that I've just been ruminating about far too much, that is about this kind of thing, sort of writing your core marketing message. How do I find out what my why is, that kind of thing. If there's anything that anybody wants to share in the comments, then please feel free to pop stuff in there. But I'll just give you a minute to write down, just literally 30 seconds to a minute, to just write down big keywords as you can think of things that you might, people might be Googling to find you. So once you've got all these components together, then we're kind of bringing it all together. Hopefully this has brought out some stuff that maybe hasn't occurred to you before, but using all the info you've come up with, if there were a sentence that you could write that calls out to your ideal client, and I'm not going to talk demographics of, I know a lot of people like to write the ideal client avatar, and that just doesn't necessarily fit for me. It may work for some people. I think, Kim, you've got quite a specific niche in the demographic that you appeal to, but even still, I might be sort of, I know somebody came up with one and they give them a name. They said they were like 35 and they worked in this industry and did this job and they had kids. And I think for a lot of people that doesn't necessarily apply. For me, it could be kind of anybody. I tend to work more with women, but again, that's just the kind of people that I attract. It's generally people who struggle to blog and struggle to write their marketing message. They might be very good at what they do, and 9 times out of 10, if you're following your heart, then you are good at what you do. But yeah, actually putting it together for yourself and putting it out there and coming up with snappy phrases is what people struggle with. So yeah, absolutely, Kim. Belly fat, weight loss, menopause, tone up, fitness, fat loss. They're kind of quite popular search phrases, and there's lots of ways you can do keyword research for sort of what you want is low competition, high search terms, but there are tools you can use to find which are the most likely things you're going to come up in Google with if you blog. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. But as a thank you to you all for coming today, and it has only been half an hour, but it's kind of gone a lot quicker than I thought. Then I'm basically offering you a free half an hour discovery call just to sort of dig a bit deeper on your specific things and maybe sort of see if there's anything I can do to sort of help improve your messaging, and see if you might want further help as well. I've got I'm running a kind of mentorship program. Going to start that on the 21st of September, and I'm going to have 6 spots available. So obviously it's first come, first serve. I'm going to be putting that out in other places as well. So yeah, I mean, if you were interested in that, then we can discuss that on the half-hour discovery call. I say half an hour. I tend to over deliver on that. If we're in flow at half an hour, then I just keep going for a bit. So yeah, unless there's any other questions at this point, then that is everything.